Are we there?
It says it is.
Okay, I'm seeing connecting live video. All right. Okay, we are live on YouTube
I don't think
and
it's
live on Facebook as well.
great.
All right. So, hello everyone. Welcome to our first weekly live stream from Rahul and I and the Area 51 team.
Yeah, I think weekly is very aspirational. We'll tell you in a few weeks if you're able to hit that.
Rahul is not optimistic as I am on
Yeah.
doing live stuff, but yeah, it's exciting that we are here, we're doing this, and hopefully folks can join in, chime in, with whatever comments, feedback you have as we go through some of the updates that we think are important in the immigration space and for immigrants as it is.
Yup. 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 And
So
it also ties into some of the things that feedback we love receiving feedback from you guys, all the folks who've been listening, and I think the long wait between the episodes, some folks did really chime in and say, "Hey, is there some kind of content that you can put out more frequently than once a month?" Which is, I think, our track rate right now. We try to average
yeah,
one, and if you're lucky, two episodes a month.
yeah, yeah,
And we figured this was a way to better connect with all the subscribers and folks who are actually trying to see how to consume immigration or immigrant related content uh,
yep, yep,
in a
yep.
more palatable way, I guess.
Yeah, and it's also, I'd say, like, from our podcast, we figured from the feedback we got from folks, we wanted a lot more like a free flowing approach to some of these things, discussions, because with our podcast, the understanding is that you listen to our stories and topics that we bring about, uh, uh, but with this, like, you can actually join us live, post us your comments, and we walk and talk about it, and help you guys out as much as we can. At least that's the hope, right?
Yeah, our editor would not be working his magic to make us sound nicer
Yeah, yeah, and
or smarter.
call out, yeah, and call out to Cyril on that. He's been doing all the editing work for on our podcast, and nothing
Uh,
short of a magician. uh, it's really cool. And yeah, yeah. So what do we got for this week, Rahul?
well, I think I will start with layoffs. It's
Hmm.
not something new. I feel like the tech folks have been burdened with layoffs for a long time now. I think Google's layoffs again, 200 employees. What was interesting, and I was speaking to a friend of mine from Meta, is when I read the fact that they're moving it to India and Mexico, it threw me off. I was like, Mexico, and he's like, yeah, apparently there is a pretty good tech pool there that they want to leverage, and
Yeah, yeah,
they are moving, and that took me by surprise. Not in the from the tech world. I'm oil
sure,
and gas by profession, so
yeah.
maybe it might be a noob mistake. But then he was kind of walking me through it, and he told me that there's actually a good number of folks there, and I was surprised by that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's true, right? Because I think typically folks don't associate Mexico with this like big IT hub, but
Yeah,
I've talked to firms that have offices there, but I wouldn't have assumed like Google moving like an entire
yeah,
presence
yeah.
there. Like
So
it
it's
is.
India and Mexico. It is, and I think the unsaid part, which is not covered in all the news outlets, is this dampens perm applications because technically any company has layoffs. They're not allowed to file perm for the next 6 months to a year or something. So I'm assuming
Yep.
Google joins Amazon and most a lot of other major tech firms that are not going to be filing perms anytime soon. Uh,
And I thought, we'll double click on that because like I figured we'd have an explanation of why it is that way. So as per employment immigration rules, if you've had layoffs, because one of the things that you do part of the EB, employment based category for getting a green card for one of your employees, is that there's a test called a labor market test. And so the idea here being is that, if your company has had layoffs, then technically and the labor market test is basically to prove that you have not found an American permanent resident or a citizen to do the particular job you hired this, usually temporary worker for, or somebody you want to hire permanently. And so you are petitioning the Department of Labor saying that, hey, we don't have anybody that does this very specific job skill set. And
Yep.
so we want to provide them with permanent residency through
Yep.
employment based. So when
And you
you've
guys
had
would have
layoffs,
seen that, yeah, in your
yeah,
perm process, right? There's a 30-day recruitment period where, because they're
yep,
legally supposed to show that that job that they are filing for your perm petition has no other competition. So
yep.
that's that 30-day recruitment period. If you've often wondered what it is that they're doing in those 30 days.
Yep, exactly, exactly. And so the idea being is that if you've had layoffs, then obviously there are folks who might be able to apply for any new jobs that you put up, and so that they get prioritized first. And so the law is that you cannot do a labor market test if you've had layoffs for at least
Yep.
6 months.
Yep.
And because, like, especially in tech, the ongoing layoffs that's been started, I don't know, since 2022 or something. Oh man,
Yeah.
I can't believe it's almost
Yeah.
like two
It's
years now.
almost been 2 years. Yep.
Wow, that's crazy.
Just when you think it's
So
stabilized, someone else will come out and do another
yeah,
big bunch of.
exactly. And and so yeah, that's the thing, right? So you've got these ongoing layoffs. So every 6 months before that period is over, like this gets reset. So if you are like on an H-1B visa, and your perm has not been started yet. Now, that's so there's another clarification there. If your application's already under perm, you're fine.
You're good.
It's
Yes.
not anything new. Like you can't, if it's already started, you're golden. Like that's the sweet spot, I'd say. Other than
So
the
the
fact that you need to worry about if you got laid off or not. So
yeah.
that's
There's another friend of mine, right?
okay.
He works in a tech firm, and his company
Okay.
had layoffs, and they paused the perm, right? And
Okay.
he
Okay.
freaked out. We were on vacation together at that point. He
Yeah.
got a
Okay.
call in the middle of the night because of the time zones and stuff. And the manager's like, "It was yours that started, so you just made it through." And
Oh my
so he
God.
really, like the Matrix, he just dodged that bullet, and he got it announced. And I was like, "That's pretty close, right?" But something that they're doing for
Uh-huh.
employees is that they're going down the EB to NIW route. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
will
Yeah.
every employee qualify for that? I do not know, because there is a certain criteria that you need to meet, but companies are trying to take that route. But there
Mhm.
will be, I think it's fair number of casualties in this, because I think 100% of your employees qualifying for EB to NIW. I don't think that might happen. Uh,
Yep, yep, yep. That's the thing. And plus, like you have to also understand the fact that yeah, I mean it's. I was just about to say what exactly you said. Like the idea is not everyone can necessarily qualify for an NIW,
yep.
and there's also the thing that a lot of firms as immigration teams haven't done NIW, so there is no there aren't a ton of experienced lawyers who are familiar with how to do an application or how good they are. So and of course, as with any group of lawyers, they are very conservative by default. So if this is something new, they'll be like, oh no, we're not doing this, and so screwed. So
And I feel like USCIS itself, when it starts seeing a huge volume of folks going for NIW, I feel, and this is just me being pessimistic, the conditions to qualify for NIW might start just getting a little more stricter in the few years. So,
yeah,
so if you're in one of these firms, if you've got 3-4 years left on your H1B, uh, start looking at options, because talk to your manager. Major companies that have these layoffs or that are not doing the perm, they have dedicated immigration teams set in
hmm,
place to figure out what options you have. Uh,
yeah,
it's never too soon to have these talks, right? So talk to them, figure out what's in it for you. What are your options? If it's not a very satisfying answer that you get, well, it's kind of sad to say, but might need to start looking at other options, other companies that are not bound by this. And also another thing, Sanjay, I think it's not just the layoffs. The Department of Justice also has a few lawsuits in place stating that some of these firms have been prioritizing Indian workers. So that's another point of hesitation for a lot of these companies to say, hey, let's just file perms for everybody.
that's
uh,
true. That's true. That's a very good point. And
yeah,
I want to
yeah,
clarify, it's not necessarily just Indian workers. It's like
yeah.
pretty much any temporary workers, workers on visas, non-US citizens. And
Okay,
I think
so
two
it's not, it
firms
was
that
just any visa, anyone
it's
on an
any
H1B. Oh,
any
it's not.
anyone on a visa, not even an
Okay,
H-1B
okay.
as well.
think the few
Uh,
articles that I read kind of probably must have assumed visas, H1Bs to Indians, like always, and
yeah,
just
yeah,
bu- bundled it together. So that's good to know. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So I think there's been some ongoing lawsuits with Meta and the Department of Justice for a while. So if you are in Meta and like you probably have already done a perm and gotten an I-140 approved. If you've not started, like I know that I don't even think Meta has a policy of hiring anybody if they've not done perm yet anymore because it's
really?
that bad.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
new. Okay, yeah,
It's very recent. Like at least stuff that I've been reading on Blind and all that, like
okay,
reports,
okay.
people are getting offers and they ask you, if you've gotten an approved I-140.
Yeah.
Nope. Or I think there's like a timeline. If it's more than 3 years, something they take them, but if it's less than that, they're like, we don't touch it. We can't give you an offer.
Wow. It, a few years back, major tech companies would not touch you if you were on a day one CPT. So now we have like come miles ahead from there. Now they won't touch you if you don't have an approved I-140. That's
Yeah.
just insane.
I mean, it just goes to show how messy the system has become, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's
100%.
anytime it's like this like dominoes that's just waiting to fall down. And anytime there's a small regulation change, pretty much just breaks everything apart. And like
Yeah,
it sucks.
yeah. So if you've been impacted by this, or you are in that third or fourth year trying to figure out what to do, good luck. You're more than welcome to reach out to us if you guys want to talk, or if you want to talk to certain lawyers. We do know a few who who are more than willing to help out.
Yep. Yep.
Also, we've also created a list uh, of
Yep.
companies that do perm. So, Sanjay, you want to
Yeah.
like talk a little bit more about that and let
Yeah,
them
so
know
it's
what that
it's
list is?
basically sort of like an Airtable, sort of like a spreadsheet where you can search. What we did is like the DOL publishes a lot of this data on their website. I mean, you can actually go to the website directly and get it yourself. But what we've done is a little bit of the filtering and like cleaning up the data only to reflect the companies that have gotten approved perm petitions in the past year. So because that's a good that means in the past year they've not had any sort of layoffs like
Yep.
for any of their applications. And so that's the idea. So we've done a little bit of the, I'd say, the grunt work for you with this. And you know what? I think I'll post the link on our chats on
Yeah.
here. That
Yeah.
way anybody can check it out themselves. So yeah,
And if
just
you'd shared with your friends or any of folks that you think might be affected by this, again, it's not a lot of folks think Area 51's like only for people of Indian origin or anything of that sort. It's pretty much anyone who's an immigrant in America
yep,
who's gone through the
yep,
same trials that we are going through right now. So all these things, all these resources would definitely help anyone who's on a visa. So feel
yep.
free to share it with as many people as possible. And yeah, we hope it helps folks. Um,
Yeah. And
yeah,
if you have any feedback on that, you think some information is missing, something's
yeah,
not right, get back to us. Like, let us know. We are available on all social
yeah.
platforms.
Yeah.
And
One
we
of our
we
community members did bring up a point, Sanjay. He was asking if oil and gas companies are included, and I told him we didn't kind of differentiate as only tech,
yeah,
right? We
correct.
did
It's not.
we It's
Yeah.
industry wide. It's not
Yep.
specifically oh, it's only for the tech folks. It's for
Yep.
everybody. So
Yep.
even if it's someone brand new trying to figure out which company is immigration friendly, this is a good resource for you because
Exactly. Yeah.
you know that they know the process. They're open to hiring people on visas and taking care
Yep.
of your future, which is your perm and
Yep.
green card and subsequent steps. So it's a good
Yep.
resource for those folks as well.
And not just that, like you can also search via job title, and it's not limited to tech at all. Any industry, whoever has applied, there's like close to 6,500 companies or something that applied for green cards last year. That's the entire list, and it's filtered out based on your geography, state-wise, city-wide, zip
Yep.
code-wise, job title, and even your visa status. Because you have to understand that a lot of companies apply for employment-based immigration even when you're not on an H-1B. You don't need to even be in the country for them to apply for that. And so, let's say you're not on an H-1B, you're on a different visa, like a TN visa. There's still stuff there. Like so, just go ahead, have a look, search through that, and it might actually be useful for you.
Yep. I tried to find podcast host as a job title. I was pretty disappointed.
Ouch.
Yeah, pretty
Maybe,
disappointed. Damn
uh,
it.
maybe once Area 51 becomes like $100 million company, we'll probably do a few perms.
Right.
Hey, wishful thinking, right? Nothing,
Yeah, I
nothing
know, I
wrong with
know, I
that.
know. Positivity. Moving on to the next thing. USCI has finally released the H1B stats, and I have to say it's much sooner than they released it last year. Last year, they took a couple of months more. Everybody was like, "Where's the data? Where's the data?" And
Yeah.
I think they were kind of scared to put it out when the 700,000 and 85,000. But this year they did, and it's pretty positive. I feel like a step in the right direction. Uh,
Uh-huh.
470,342 eligible registrations, out of which the total was 479,953, and
Wow.
it's it's a drastic drop from last year, which was 758,994 eligible registrations. That's
Wow. Oh, it's almost like halfway
They
they've cut
almost
it down.
halved it, so I feel like it's a step in the right direction, and almost
But then again,
18%
like,
odds of getting through. Uh,
but still, look at the numbers, right? Like, that's almost 500,000 people,
yeah,
like, who have applied for an H1B. Like, it's for me, it's still like because I got my H1B like 6 years ago,
mine
six or
was
7 years
2020. I
ago.
was a COVID pick.
No, yeah, I was in
Yeah.
2018, and that time I think I remember it was just like 200,000 applicants or something like that.
Oh,
And
mine was pretty high too, dude. It was around 300 something.
oh, so it's yeah, it's been
Yeah, it was
ramping up a lot.
been
Like
ramping up.
it's yeah, it's crazy,
I mean, think
and
about it,
it's
right? Last year they issued 440,000 F1 visas. Oh, sorry. Yeah,
oh,
2023 they issued 440,000 F1 visas, somewhere on that number. So
oh, that makes sense. So
it
that
is
see that's a very interesting. Maybe we need to look up some research
so
around that
that
correlation between that. Yeah,
plus the remaining what this year what it was this year was 470, right? 470
yeah,
minus
yeah,
85, that's like around 380, 385 left. So this
yeah,
385,000 will compete, plus there's a good
yeah.
number from the previous years will compete,
Previous
plus
years as
you're
well.
introducing 440,000 into the mix.
Ooh, yeah,
All
that's
for
crazy.
85,000 coveted spots. uh, yeah, we need to increase that number. I, this is it's not good, but steps in the right direction. Eligible registrations, that's good.
Yeah,
Also, you've kind of moved the power, the status quo, to the employee than the employer, because now
yes,
if 5 companies are filing for you, you can, if you get picked, you can pick which company to go. So it's in the,
yep.
it's not oh, the employer is god, and we are like waiting down for that H1B visa to like drop down.
Yeah. I mean, some point it is, but like this, there's still some level of control where now because it's beneficiary centered, like you mentioned, like you get to
Yes,
choose rather
yes,
than
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
So I feel like it was waiting to see. If you remember in the H1B proposed regulations, there were a lot of things that they wanted to implement, right? These were
yeah,
one of the 1 or 2 things that they did. So those seem to have done well. Waiting to see what else kind of comes through uh,
yeah.
that
And if you're
that pipeline.
as much of an immigration nerd as us, we've actually done a dedicated episode to it back in December. Uh, talk
Yes,
about that with
yes,
yeah
with
with
our
Steven.
good friend Stephen. Uh,
Yeah,
who is actually now
Steven's.
a named partner at Reddy Newman and Brown. The Brown
Yep,
is Stephen
yep,
Brown. Congratulations,
yep,
Stephen.
yep, yep. And
Uh,
Steven's a great immigration lawyer, at least from
yeah.
whatever we've had our interactions with him.
Yep.
Like he's amazing. So I definitely reach out to him for any other official legal
Yeah.
questions.
Once
Yeah,
we
and
have
and if
more changes come through, we'll have like a follow on episode with him to like kind of break it down. Um,
yep, yeah, for sure,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
And of course, as always, like maybe you should say it at the start of the live event before say this is a disclaimer. Both of us are not lawyers. This is not legal advice.
Damn it.
Whatever you do, consult an actual immigration lawyer before doing anything.
Yes.
We can help you provide the right resources for the stuff. But obviously, like make sure you do your own research and talk to a lawyer if you're not sure about anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, our
And
ideas like
speaking of,
because yeah,
it's funny you say that because sometimes when I talk to people, I'm always scared that, and I always add this disclaimer at the end. I'm like, listen, just double check, okay? If something,
okay,
my information is wrong, or I've read the wrong source, and I'm quote not
okay,
saying it right, I
okay.
don't want that to actually cause you any issues, right? So just make sure that, like Sanjay said, talk to an attorney just to double check that couple of
Yeah.
$100 you spent on consultation is fine. In the long run,
Yeah.
it's okay. Rather
Yeah.
than something going wrong and your
Yeah.
entire your entire future kind of crumbling down because of that. Oh,
Weird thing. Steven just retweeted our live thing on Twitter. So I'm just looking at it to see if anybody had any comments or anything of the sort. That's cool.
I
Hey, thanks, Steven.
yeah, I'm looking at YouTube to make sure that no one's put anything in the chat or the comments. But good
Oh,
that
I've got like four screens like all over the like. I've got in each screen. I've got YouTube. I've got Facebook. I've got Twitter. All of
nice,
it set up.
nice, nice,
That way, if anybody
nice.
comments, like
Speaking
yeah,
about immigration related content, let's talk about the big podcast. We spoke about, we heard it, we spoke about it. It's made a
yeah,
lot of waves. The
yeah,
Aarti Sriram show. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
what did you think about it?
So I'll be honest. Like one thing is, I'm very glad somebody with Sriram's
Yes,
reach has
yes,
talked about it. It's crazy to think that even though we know a lot of folks, we talk about among our friends, there is actually not enough media coverage around this. Like, I
but
just feel
he
like
went through it. He went through it.
yeah, exactly, and I think he made a very good point on the episode, or I think it was the next one, like a follow up thing with people who have been through this process. Like
Yep,
once you've gotten that green card, like you just put it in some corner of your head and you forget about it. Like it's like this bad traumatic
yep,
experience, right?
yep, yep.
And I can completely understand that that's where it comes from, but like I'm also glad that he did talk about it. It's very
Yep.
important because
Yeah.
yeah, it's just crazy. Like there's so many folks who go through this and there's still not enough media coverage or as much importance it's given to it as it should be.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yep.
hey to Didi and Sriram and
Oh yeah,
Aarti
Didi
for
was
the
as eloquent as always. It was a
yeah,
good episode.
yeah,
I mean, again, because we are living in it. None of it
yeah,
came as a surprise,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I feel like Sriram and Aarti themselves were kind of taken aback by the response that they got. That even in the
yeah,
next
yeah.
episode, they're like,
Yep,
"Oh, we're going to talk about
exactly.
this again, just to show you
Yeah.
how much of the comments and how surprised they were by all the
Yeah.
response that they got."
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for bringing that up. But I want to pick on a very interesting line that Didi said. I found it
Uh-huh.
very amusing and interesting. Where Canada was called US Tier 2, right?
Well,
So
I think a lot of I mean he's pretty much said it out loud what others are
100%,
officially saying,
100%,
right?
and I spoke to some folks, friends of mine in Canada, and also
Okay.
we've got our next, it's pretty ironic that the next two episodes that we've got from the Area 51 podcast,
Okay.
it's going to be Canada themed, right? One of them is the intro to the Canadian immigration landscape, or just intro to Canada in itself. So
Okay. Okay.
I'm very curious to see what Sindhu, who's our pro Canada
Okay.
uh, immigration friend, is
Uh-huh.
going to
Uh-huh.
think about it, and I'm sure
Okay.
that
Okay.
will come as a very interesting conversation point. So stay tuned for that, guys. We are recording that episode on May 10th,
Hmm.
and yeah, if you guys have any questions specific to how Canada is or immigrating to Canada, feel free to drop us a note, and we'll do our best to include it in that episode. And
Hmm.
Sindhu's great. We plan to have her back for like many episodes in the future as well to talk more about understanding and debunking Canada. But if you have something pressing that you guys want to talk about, or just understand generally about Canada, we'd be more than happy to cover that for you in the
Yeah,
episode.
for sure. And as always, we um welcome any sort of questions and feedback that
Yep.
you have.
Yep.
If you want to get those questions answered on the podcast, we'd love for you to reach out to
Yep.
us. Like
Yep.
as always, we are on all
Yep.
social platforms. If you want to reach us out to us directly, I think the closest way is through our WhatsApp community. Just go to Linktree, what is
Yeah.
it, /Area 51 pod. You can get access
Yep.
to our WhatsApp group.
We'll put that in the
Um,
chat as well, right? It's just for you
yeah,
guys to see.
yeah,
We'd be more than happy for you guys to be a part of the group. We've got
yeah,
very topic based groups, general immigration queries,
yeah,
uh, international students,
Okay.
a lot of very topic based groups there. So
Okay.
we're always
I
creating
just want
more.
to
Yeah.
I just want to pause and say hi to Padma Kumar. Like he's shouted us out on YouTube. Hey Padma, he sends us love from the green card backlog community. Padma is one of our vocal
Yeah, I love
fans
Padma.
on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks
If
Padma.
you
Thanks for
if
sending us
you
the love.
guys are on Twitter, please follow this guy because I find his sense of humor to be
It's
amazing.
brilliant, right?
I
Brilliant.
swear.
He's amazing.
His
Like
tweets are on point, and then no matter if I'm in between work, taking a break or whatever it is, like no matter how bad a day it is, I see some of his tweets and I'll start chuckling to myself. It's on point and hard hitting. So it's
I mean, as much as like I understand a lot of folks, like especially on Twitter, we see
yeah,
like folks like us who are stuck, venting out frustration. There's a lot of group therapy that goes on there with the
yeah.
green card back.
The good thing is
Padma's
the
one.
backlog is so long, we all become friends just waiting. Such a long
United in
queue.
misery.
Yeah, such
United
a
in
long
misery.
queue. We're just waiting and we become friends along the way.
Yep, 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 yep.
So, yep. And then the second Canada based episode is with Mark, who's the founder of Syndesis. If your H1B attempt has not been successful, or you are in your sixth year and you're in one of these layoff related scenarios where the company is not allowed to file for a perm, you're figuring out what's your next course of action. Syndesis is a company that will help you with it, right? They will have a tie up with your company and will be your employer on record in Canada. So you essentially, all you have to do is you'll be in Canada and you'll be working for your US based company. Same team, nothing, just that Syndesis
Yep.
will help facilitate that move and that and being the employer on record. So I feel like that's a very useful and interesting episode we've got planned as well. We'll be
Yep.
recording that the week after Sindhu's. So yeah, stay tuned for these two Canada-based episodes, guys, and we hope it helps you because I think it definitely. This is information I wished I knew back then, and I'm glad these resources exist for us to talk about and shed more light.
Yep, for sure. And yeah, Padma, like I agree with what you're saying. Like says that our children will be friends too while waiting for the green card. I mean,
Uh,
not if you have a U.S. citizen kid. That's a different story. But yeah, that's the thing. Like you're going to be stuck in this hellhole. Uh,
But it's really funny
oh
though, dude. We spoke about it, right? Eric Garcetti, who you, I think, during your stint in LA, you,
yeah, yeah. The
he's
mayor for
the,
LA.
he's right now the
He's
ambassador to India. Uh,
okay. He sucked as a mayor, so I don't know if it's probably going to be worse.
yeah, nice, and she's just burned a bridge with Eric.
Well, see, for what? All right, because we're going to get him on our next episode, right?
Who
But
knows?
I want to take a pause before we get back to Gar City. We've got another comment
Yeah,
from Raghav. Raghav's
yeah,
also one of our great followers on Twitter. Hey, Raghav.
yeah.
He asks, any thoughts on Durbin's talk on the Dream Act? Does it cover children of backlog aging out? No, it
No, it
doesn't,
does.
as far as I know.
Yeah,
And of course, we all loved Senator Dick Durbin so much. There's a bit
yeah,
of sarcasm in that.
yeah. If you just listen to episode 3, the one where we almost won, to
Yeah.
find out why we are a little snarky when it comes to Mr. Durbin. But
Yeah.
speaking about Dhaka, we've got some good news there, right, Sanjay? I mean,
Sort of like, I mean, so DACA respondents, they get healthcare coverage now. Biden's done like a election. I think this is Biden's equivalent of giving out free TVs and saris to folks in Tamil Nadu before an election, right? Like that's what you, or in Uttar Pradesh in India back home.
basically, what he meant is it's a step in the right direction, guys.
I don't think so. It's pretty much election nonsense. He just wants to rile up a base by
So be it. So be it.
yeah.
But what I'm looking at is this 100,000 previously uninsured folks who now have health coverage, and they get Obamacare now. So
But see, that's the thing, right? That's
yeah.
only as long as it goes unchallenged in court. It's going to be a fact for sure. There's going to be some random lawyer in the middle of some state that's going to challenge it in court, and they're going to block it. That's what I really feel like.
So wait, it's kicked in. and
Yeah.
it's he's announced it. It's kicked in. So okay, you're saying in the future if someone goes ahead. Okay. I mean, I
No,
think
so
if people going to challenge something, they might challenge California's what is it? They get mandatory free health insurance now, right? Everyone in California, even if you are
yeah, undocumented as well. Like, I mean,
undocumented
but
as well.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, for whatever's worth, California has been pretty ahead with this stuff. I
Yep.
always
Yep.
feel like any democratic national level policy, if you want to see it play out in a few years, just see what's happening in California. Like that, they that's pretty much been the playbook. So,
But again,
yeah,
I'm happy. This is I don't know how long it's going to stay, but those guys have had it rough, and I hope I hope more positive things come their way. The DACA folks.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, thanks, Raghav. So Raghav says, no hope from elected folks sitting in positions of influence. We are hoping to change that, through advocacy and all the
Yep.
things that we are
Yep.
talking through and trying
Yep.
to do.
That's a nice
And
segue,
also, is
actually. We can we put a link to that bill, not that bill, that Resisbot campaign in the chat, Sanjay. Yeah,
oh yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
yeah.
Uh,
So for
I
folks
got
coming in and looking at this, it's a very very simple tool. You a few seconds and you just text it through your phone. You actually send a letter through to your respective state representatives and also to the president, and all it takes is a few seconds. So since you're mentioning that, I think it's a great way for us to also push that petition that we've created to a wider audience.
Yeah. So like I'll be honest, like one thing is we've heard like a lot of folks who have submitted the petition. I know this I think what we had like 1,200 plus people who signed up. Uh
2000, dude. We crossed 2000, I
oh
think.
wow. Wow. Wow,
I
that's
think we
amazing.
crossed 2000. Yeah, we're very happy with that. Yeah.
And a lot of representatives offices have given like a very standard templated response
Yep.
on this thing. So like we've been thinking about like building a larger platform where you can call folks based on a zip code.
Mm.
But Rahul, I know we haven't completely talked about it. Like but one thing I
Yeah.
feel like,
More to
eh,
come on that.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
definitely it's cooking. It's not
yeah,
ready to be consumed yet, but it's cooking.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So we might have some news in the near
Yeah.
future
Yeah.
around it.
In one of these
Yeah,
sessions in the future, I guess.
yep, 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 yep.
Right. So yeah, going back to what we are talking, right? Eric Garcetti, he was in one of those
Yeah,
AI events in India, and he had
yeah.
a very interesting line that he said. I'm just going to pull up the note to say it. I'm quoting him now. The old joke was
Okay,
that you could not become a CEO in America if you were Indian, right? Now the
okay.
joke is you cannot become a CEO in America if you are not Indian,
Oh, it's
right?
kind of okay, okay.
For you to make such a large, bold statement, but still limit capabilities of millions and millions of people in the backlog, we would have thousands of CEOs, thousands more CEOs if only we had the freedom and the ability to go ahead and do what we're good at instead of being tied to a visa or the other hurdles that we have to face.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, and at least one thing I like is we are on the stage now. Like it's official. Like Indians are here, whether anybody wants to accept it or not. I think the U.S. immigration system hasn't accepted it, but the U.S. itself has accepted it. So yeah, Eric Garcetti, if by any chance you're checking us out right now or sometime in the future, uh, please talk to Biden or any other Congress folks and use your
Yeah.
leverage to remove country caps. Like it
Wow, Sanjay.
really
First, you
helps.
call him a shitty man, then you ask him to fix all our problems.
Hey, nothing wrong. I'm shooting my shot. Okay, it's
Oh, that's funny.
but I don't know. So we're you can obviously see I'm still figuring out this live stuff.
But
And if you go,
news from India. Did you hear about the AstraZeneca vaccine uh, debacle? Uh,
no, I don't know. I've not been
Yeah,
following
so
it.
they came out and said that anyone who's gotten their vaccine, Covishield, I think, is
Okay,
now
okay.
I think will let me pull up the thing. It's like you are now more susceptible to like a rare blood clot uh, problem or something called TTS or something of that sort. And
Oh,
that's literally the vaccine that almost I think more than half of India got. Uh,
oh
so I
my
call I
God.
call up my parents in panic. I'm like, hey, it's like, is this the one that you got? And she's like, yep, that's the one that we got. And I
Oh
was like,
shit. That's crazy. That's crazy.
yeah. So now you know lawsuits are being prepared. You've got reports of folks
Okay.
who've allegedly died because of taking this. And
Okay. Okay, Rahul, I know we were talking earlier today um, that, your tweet about doing the 75 fit hard challenge didn't work out, right? Padma just posted on a chat. It's like, talk about it, bro.
there's a reason why I like him. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I recommend this to everybody. It's like it's by this guy called Andy Frisella. It's called the 75-day fitness challenge, and there's a bunch of rules. I took those rules and I kind of tweaked it a little bit for things that suited me. For example, it's like two 45-minute workouts. One has to be inside, one has to be outside. Uh,
Mhm.
a gallon of water, 10 pages of reading. You've got you follow a diet and no alcohol. So I followed this. I feel like the hardest thing for me was a gallon of water. I never knew how
Okay.
little water I used to drink before until I started and finished this challenge. So it was very difficult, but yeah, made it through. And I was lucky that a lot of my friends also, I convinced them to do it because I was like, if they're not drinking, I probably won't drink. So they all went on a alcohol free fast for 75 days. They did their own versions of 75-day hearts. They tweaked it a little bit, but I think we all came out of it like physically and mentally strong. I dropped 30 pounds. I was
Wow.
the reading thing was fine. It's keeping us accountable. Some days at like 2 in the morning, I'm like chugging liters of water. Or like, once I dozed off and I woke up at like 2 and I'm like, oh shit, I have to read my 10 pages. I'm like,
That's
but
dedication, bro. I
it's
love it.
nice. It's good. I totally recommend this to people. It's not a very sustainable lifestyle
Mhm.
throughout, but I think
Okay.
you can do it for 75 days. And don't reset it if you miss it, right? That's my only thing, because that way you'll never make it towards the end and you'll lose your interest halfway through. So
Yeah. 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 Padma says you're 30 pounds happier now. And I want to say, like, I want to call out, like, Rahul's dedication to this is so good because I don't think our listeners know, like, because you travel a lot for work, right? Like,
yeah, I would start
and
cooking food and yeah,
yes, maintaining something like this as you
yeah,
travel and going out,
yeah.
like, that must have been so hard. It's so awesome to
But the best thing, dude,
see.
is like all the excuses I told myself for like eating whatever I wanted or leading an unhealthy life. Like, I'm traveling for work, it's fine. I can't maintain it. Like, I
Yeah,
just I don't have those excuses anymore. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it's good. It was a nice experiment. I would recommend it to everyone.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Like, I mean, the seeing you with that change is it's amazing, dude. Like,
Yep.
it's so cool. And if anybody's watching us, they can see Izzy in the background. Izzy is one of my
Yeah.
dogs. You know, in all our live events, you will probably see her
Yeah.
jumping around.
And if
If you
you
like
listen,
dogs, you can always join us.
if you also listen closely in our podcast episodes, you can hear Izzy or Milo uh,
Yeah.
being a part of it in the background,
Yeah, yeah, they love getting attention. So it's
just like
part of their way
Sanjay.
to. Yeah, totally. Wow. Thanks for that, Rahul.
Uh, what else do we
Cool.
have on the agenda today? Oh, let's talk about the Brooklyn Curry project. I feel like,
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the
yeah,
thing. That's
we dropped this episode just yesterday, and oh, sorry, day before yesterday, and it's. I feel like it's a very heartwarming story of two immigrants in Brooklyn who
Mhm.
just decided to share their love of food and share their culture and their taste buds to with the folks around them, and they've started a food stall called the Brooklyn Curry Project. And Sanjay and I've been salivating about their dosas for a while now, right, Sanjay?
totally, man. I need to make a New York trip just to check them out. Like,
Yep,
I
yep.
know they're planning the 50 state thing. I was
50
hoping they'd
dosas.
come to,
Yep.
yeah, to come to Boston as well. But I don't know. Maybe need to do a trip before that because
Yeah. Yep. But
That's the
check
thing.
out
Like,
that episode. You will. It's not very heavy on immigration content. It's just a story about two immigrants, uh, them trying out something new and them finding success because that stall is pretty famous now. It's
yeah,
at
yeah,
least you will find they open only once a day, once a week on Saturday, and you'll find a huge line, and it's their food is always sold out, and
yep,
people keep
yep,
raving about it. So check out the episode and check out their dosas as well, and
yep,
let
yep.
us know what you think of it.
Yeah, and as always, any sort of feedback, we love it. What you didn't like, what you liked about it,
Yep.
because all of our content that we create, it's based on feedback we get from everyone. And so, if you think you don't enjoy something, like you want to stick to hardcore stuff, like, yeah, we'll absolutely make the case to go back and understand and revisit some of
Yep.
our ideas. But we are trying to make the best things for folks who listen to us. And
Yep.
so, yeah, we are nothing without you guys.
Yep. So again, join, check out our community if you. I think there is some value in it for you, and also we do get there's a lot of questions being discussed there about just regular immigration problems. If you're someone who's probably faced that similar kind of problem and you know the way to navigate it, it's a great way to a great platform to kind of help your fellow visa holder immigrant navigate it. And again, we're stronger as a community. I've always said this. Together, we're very strong. There are shared experiences and shared knowledge on how to navigate the system. So which is one of the reasons why we started the podcast in the first place. So let's make sure that we carry that on. And yeah, as like Sanjay said, if you want us to talk about anything in particular, feel free to reach out. Let us know. We'll be more than happy to do an episode or a live based on that topic.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And yeah, this live thing is something very experimental for us. This is like, the first time
Yeah.
we're trying it out.
Yep.
We
Yep.
don't know like how long it's gonna go. We're still figuring out what's the
Yep.
best packaging around it. So we'd love to have any sort of feedback from you folks around
Absolutely.
that.
I think that's all we had on the list today, right? We thought we'd talk
Yep,
about.
yep. That's all. And Sunday evening, I'm hoping everybody's slowly preparing for the end of the weekend and
And
studying.
spring. Yeah. Time to
Yeah,
step out, guys. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's
I
time to
know.
step out.
Maybe try out the 75 hard challenge.
In spring, it's hard. Winter's easy because
Yeah.
with all these beer gardens and everything popping up, no alcohol is going to be very hard in spring and summer.
Okay. That's
But
very true.
but yeah, hopefully we'll see you soon. Maybe next week or the week after on another live. And check out the Canada-based episodes and let us know what you
Yep.
think of them. Yep.
Yep. Yep. All right, folks. We are signing off.
Take care. Have a good weekend.